This is the Ego Power Plus Nexus Escape 400 watt inverter. I've had it for a while. I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons, show you it in use, share some of my experience with it so far, and help you decide whether or not it's worth buying. Oh, I'm going to take it apart too. Stay tuned. Man, I'm obsessed with inverters for years now. Electricity, it's cool, Having backup power is nice, and having portable power, it's nice. I've been collecting Ego equipment over the past several years, either buying new, back when Home Depot carried the brand, or from great deals I found on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace near me. Yeah, there's been some stupidly good deals out there. So I got a bunch of batteries, and when Ego announced that they're coming out with this, I was intrigued. This could be a backup to my backup to my backup to my backup. I bought it new at Lowe's for $150. Pros, cons, go. Pro, pure sine wave AC power, 400 watts continuous, several USB ports, and one of them's got a 100 watt input or output, and you can pause and see the specs here for the USB stuff. Pro, you can charge the Ego battery that's connected to it while you're using the 100 watt in and out port. Mm-hmm. It's also worth noting, according to the manual, you can charge with a regular USB adapter. And just doing some quick math with the 7.5 amp hour battery, if it's completely empty, it would take 42 hours to fully charge on a regular USB brick. And that's, if there's zero loss during the charging. But just a little over 4 hours if you got a 100 watt USB-C adapter. So that's a pro. But a con with that, as the manual states, the inverter may not be compatible for use with some USB PD chargers. So what? I'm going to attempt a translation of that statement. And maybe that means you can charge the Ego battery, but it might not work. Am I reading that right? I know there's issues with like switching between voltages with the USB power delivery, but anyway, they put that in the manual. It's weird. Here is a USB-C power delivery charger. Right? It can charge things, but it has an in and an out port. And if you plug it into the in and out port here, it doesn't charge this, and this one doesn't charge this. It doesn't know what to do. So, yeah, some power delivery devices might not work to charge it. Pro, according to the manual, again, it seems that you can use this thing like an uninterruptible power supply, though it does not state it directly to be used like that. You see this? It has a light indication sequence on the power button that indicates the inverter is powering connected devices and charging the battery pack. It's very cool. Quick test. It's charging and it's plugged into this light. So it's powering the light through AC. And now the charger is unplugged from the wall, simulating power loss. And it stays on. Nice. Little makeshift UPS there. Pro, it's got a light, 2 brightness settings. It's bright. Another pro is that it has a decent cooling fan. When it's really pushing the watts, you can feel it move the air. That's decent. But a con to that is that mine puts out like this pungent aroma of electriciousness. Yeah, it smells funky. Biggest pro is that clean, pure sine wave AC power. You can get it from your Ego batteries. So no funny buzzing sound with your electronics when you plug it in. So yeah, it's nice. And I'd say the biggest con to me is this. The thing will shut off automatically for a reason other than overload protection. And I've experienced it where it just turns off. And I was like, what's the deal? So I looked at the manual and it states, when switching on the power inverter, if the USB current is less than 100 milliamps and the AC power output is less than 10 watts, the system will shut off automatically after 2 hours. So if you're camping and running an AC fan that's taking less than 10 watts, then your fan will only be on for 2 hours. Maybe this can be avoided by running a USB fan that takes more than 0.1 amps. I don't know. And it might be a pro more than a con, but I call it a con because while I get fully depleting the battery because you accidentally left the inverter on, I would like power like at the ready. Like I want it to be on if I turn it on, Pro-ish con here with the handle. It's got one. That's a pro. And it feels really sturdy. It's just in a strange place. Like you plug in a thing and you can't really use the handle. So you got to like unplug stuff and move the handle and then plug the stuff back in if you want to use it comfortably. So yeah, that's it for the PC list. You survived. Weird things about the inverter. The lights in the buttons. The power button light, it's green, and then it stays on. And the older Ego batteries that do not have the fuel gauge, they do their charging light sequence flashy thing, goes through the colors. So, yeah, no matter if the battery is being charged or depleted, it just does this, flashing. Yep. So if you're like camping or like just sleeping with this thing on nearby, you're going to have a light show unless you cover up the lights. Yeah, setting the thing down, it's a little weird. Doesn't quite have a top or a bottom. And yeah, once the battery's connected, if you set it like this, thing does get warm. So it like warms up the battery. So flipping it like this lets the heat rise not into the battery, which is more ideal. And the lights, they're on this side, so they would light up the room or tent better this way with the battery on the bottom side. Setting it like this blocks the cooling intake a decent amount, so that's weird. Might suck up some dirt in there if it is set like this and running at full power with the cooling fan on high. Yeah, if this is less weird and more so cool. So the batteries, they usually pop out of like Ego equipment with this thing. It's like a little spring-loaded knob or something. But this doesn't have one because that just missing entirely. It's got this spring-loaded like lead protector that also pops the battery out. It's fairly stiff. It's good. It's good. Oh yeah, this is weird. Turning it on, you've got to hold the button down for more than a half a second. And yeah, so if it's off and you just tap the button, it's like, what? You tap it again, it's like, what do you want? Hey, inverter, I'm pressing the power button. Like, you tap it again. The inverter's like, so what, dude? What do you want? Like, why does it flash briefly? It's so weird. It's like, oh yeah, I know, I see you there. You press the power button. Whatever. Oh, you want me to turn on? You gotta, like, what? It's weird. Anyway, yeah, the button's pretty stiff, sturdy, thick rubber. It feels like it's almost waterproof. But let's just use it. Here it is. You can see it running a small 350 watt heater. Now, this 7.5 amp hour battery will run this heater for about an hour before it shuts down. So probably don't use this for heat. An hour of heat, I guess, is better than nothing, but probably not a good plan. Car battery charger. Here it is, charging car battery, 120 watts, no problem. RV converter charger. Here it is in my RV, charging the house batteries on the low setting. If I turn the RV's converter to the high setting and the RV batteries are low, it'll want more than 400 watts. And yeah, overtasking the Ego inverter, it'll just shut down and it'll have to be reset. I've taken the RV camping and had a no generator spot. So I used this inverter to keep the house batteries topped off, which was nice. It worked out. Used a lot of Ego batteries, but it was all right. Here it is running a fan. It's kind of silly. Ego sells a fan for like $200. Got better specs than a Mister, but $200 for a fan, a battery fan. Here it is powering some lights. And yeah, Ego, they sell a light array. Ooh, and it can charge your phone. Wait a minute. This inverter is like Egoception, if that makes sense. You can do things with it that Ego already makes tools for. You can't mow your lawn with it, though. Will it run a CPAP overnight? Sure. On a big battery, though. And as long as you're pulling at least 10 watts from the AC or a tenth of an amp from one of the USB ports, or else it'll shut off after 2 hours. I have a CPAP and I've used this about 20 nights already, just out of curiosity, and it shut off twice on me. And it wasn't because the battery was dead, but there were some mornings where the battery, I did run it dead. So get the big battery if you're running a CPAP. And yeah, the manual doesn't say not to use it with medical devices, and that's interesting because this Ryobi inverter I recently reviewed did specifically state in its manual to not use with medical devices. Yeah, so Ego says that you can use this one with small AC devices, such as, and what you see on the screen here. This is you're looking at part of the manual. Yeah, neato. Oh, my last review, someone asked to do a fridge test, and I'm not going to do that with this inverter. My fridge is a Whirlpool, and at the Whirlpool site, it suggests a generator with at least 1,000 watts for that. So if you're looking to like fridge backup, probably go bigger, I say, with something like this that I'm working on a review for. You'll see that coming up sort of soon. But yeah, with that, Ego does have this Nexus power generator thing. Uses 4 batteries. If I get a good deal on one of those, I'll let you know and do a review. Is it good or is it bad? You decide after I decide. I think it's good. Worth $150. You've got these batteries lying around. The bigger batteries, that is. If you're running off the 2.5 amp hour battery, it's not going to last very long. It's 140 watt hours, but it'll definitely work for charging phones and stuff, and maybe a laptop like once. But yeah. Anyway, I hope that helped. See you later, Internet.
I sure could use some help.
Hey, man, I think this guy needs some help.
Yeah, I'll give you a hand.